Let's begin this hour, though, yet again, with what's playing out on the coronavirus pandemic, because we've reached two grim milestones now. 2 million new infections in the U.S. in a span of just 2 weeks. And we've got deaths across the country hitting more than 2,000 in a single day. That's the first time we've seen that since May. Anjalee Khemlani is always tracking that story for us. And Anjalee, you spoke to the CDC Director, Robert Redfield, earlier today. What is he saying about just the rate of the spread this time around?
Right. Well, he did mention, of course, what we've seen, and that is that regions of the U.S. that have the lowest population are the ones with the highest case trends. And we've seen that continuously in the past 2 weeks, lending to those really high numbers, more than 170,000 cases per day. Of course, we're expecting those numbers to fall off a little bit, but may not be accurate reflections as a result of the upcoming holidays. Health experts have warned that post the holiday, we could start seeing another round of surges. And that goes back to really what the CDC continues to look at and study in terms of the spread, as well as what the rules around it should be. You know, in terms of small gatherings, the debate over whether or not that does in fact lead to spread, as well as whether or not quarantining needs to be a full 14 days or if it can be reduced. The CDC did release a study that they are currently analyzing and that has not been peer reviewed yet, looking at a shorter quarantine period. And of course, that is something that all eyes are on right now. We asked Dr. Redfield about that earlier. Here's what he had to say.
I do anticipate that we will come out with new recommendations that look at a shorter period of quarantine and even a shorter period of quarantine where you would test out of quarantine. I don't want to get ahead of the recommendations. I know there's been some talk in the press about it, but I do expect that in the next week or so, that data will be completely analyzed and then the recommendations will be made based on that data.
So as you can hear, we're gearing up for that. You know, in a week or so might get some changes. And of course, we've seen guidance change throughout the year as more has been learned about this pandemic. And looking at those numbers again, you know, warnings about what could be leading up to a Christmas holiday and the numbers rising there. Meanwhile, we know that the FDA is set to meet on the first vaccine filing, that's Pfizer and BioNTech's filing on December 10th. So a lot going on right now in the coming weeks. Akiko.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Anjalee.